What's up, world, and welcome back to the Global Frequency. I am your host, Nefarious.
And I'm Frequency Girl.
And it is the beginning of a brand new week, and tonight we have with us Robert Livingston, here to tell us all about his creator-owned comic, Bite, coming soon to Indiegogo.
Hey,
what
y'all,
is up, Robert?
Hey, y'all, what's going on? I'm so psyched to be here. Thanks for bringing me on.
Absolutely, man. We're super glad to have you. This book looks like a lot of fun. We're going to get into it in just a minute here, but usually when we have new guests to the show, we like to get to know them a little bit before we just start, rambling about the book. So where do you come from, my friend?
I come from New York City. I was born in Brooklyn, and I currently live in Queens. I am 29 years old. I graduated high school, but I did not graduate college. So, in the process of that, I don't have like some big, interesting, dark backstory, but as plain can get, honestly.
Well, I mean, it puts you in pretty good company, right? Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. None of those nerds ever went to college.
Minus the rich parents.
Right. Well, I mean, not everybody can have everything handed to them. Some of us got to work for a living, right? So, real quick, before we go any further, I'm just going to say hi to the people we got tuning in right off the rip. We got Mo Biggs with us. We also have Nicholas Gear, and we've got Will from Creators Outlet. We've also got D-Wag. D-Wag, you were not first, my friend. I did not see a first from you today, so we're going to reset that counter.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The last one was Will. He had two in a row.
Oh, Will.
You're so close.
So close, Will. So close. It's so far. Come on, man. We got to get you that blanket. You got to get 3 in a row. Yeah.
Mo says it's not too late to make up a dark, interesting backstory. It's true.
I feel like I had something for that, but it's sadly lost to time. The only prerequisites I would have for an interesting backstory is the fact I grew up in like a pretty shitty neighborhood, and it was like one of the worst fucking projects in Brooklyn. And when you're a nerd growing up in the hood, yeah, that's right. That's another thing. I'm black. I'm not trying to make a big thing of that, just saying. But when you're living in one of the worst neighborhoods in Brooklyn when you're growing up and you're a nerd, it's like, and also it's like the 90s to the mid to like 2000s. It was a pretty harsh time. Growing up.
Whereabouts in New York? Because I come from New York as well.
I lived over in Marcy Projects.
Oh shit! All right, all good, bro. All good, bro.
As soon as I say that, you already know.
Yeah. I'm not coming to your house. I'm sorry. You can come to my house instead.
I don't live there anymore, but
I know, but when we would hang out, man, we don't go to Marcy Projects. Bed-Stuy is better than that shit, bro.
I'm just saying, growing up, my older brother was actually friends with Jay-Z before he made it big. And it's funny because this is like always a story that comes up in my family is the fact that, when my brother knew Jay-Z, he was like still slinging drugs and shit. So my mom would be coming into the house and my brother would have like all the guys here, like, some friends, Jay-Z would be there. And my mother would instantly just start kicking everyone out the apartment. Just like, all right, everyone pack up your shit. You got to go. Everyone got to go. Because she didn't want my brother around him. And it was like so ironic too, because Jay-Z actually had, from what he told me, I think he had like a crush on my aunt or some shit. It was someone in my family that he had a crush on. And she didn't like him because she said, and I quote, that he was ugly. And yeah, look what happened.
If only.
I mean,
the funny thing is, Jay-Z actually remembers my mom there was like a story from like a few years ago, back when we still lived in that. This was like back when I was in high school, when we still lived in those projects, and we had like a little neighborhood where my mom would go to get like groceries and stuff. And Jay-Z was in the area. I think he was doing a show where he was just like visiting people or some stuff. But my mom was going to get groceries, and like out of the blue, Jay-Z walks up to her. He's like, "Oh, hey, you remember me? Like, you remember me? Because I remember you. You used to kick me out your apartment all the time."
Bet you wouldn't kick me out.
So when's Hova gonna start promoting your comic book, my dude? That would be some shit right there, right?
Oh, dude, I have lost, like, everyone in my family, when it came to like contact with hip hop, it was mostly a lot of artists who were big in like the 90s. Like my family, they knew Aaliyah. That was one thing. They knew Aaliyah, and so when she died, that did
Queen of the Dead, right? Right. That was yeah. I got to dance with her at what was it? At Webster Hall downtown.
Oh, really?
I got to dance with Aaliyah. Yeah. It was the Queen of the Dead thing. Like, it was the big premiere. It was awesome.
I haven't been to Webster Hall in like a while. Is that's still there? Because I heard it was going to get like shut down, and then it didn't.
I don't know. All of the spots that I used to frequent, all my old haunts, they're all gone. Like, Limelight got turned into a consignment store. I don't know if Downtime's still there. The bank shut down. Pyramid shut down.
Yeah. Wait,
Tunnel and Carbon went the way of the dodo down in there. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That was like the last bastion.
I know.
I went to Pyramid once, like years ago, and it was such like a good
Queen
spot.
Of the Damned,
it was like when I was in my party phase of my 20s, and I was always looking for shit to do. And I remember one time I went to Webster Hall to catch like a guy I know he was playing a show there, and I missed the show, but I wound up running into another guy I knew who I just met over the summer. And it's weird because usually when you meet people during the summer, you don't think you're ever going to meet these dudes again. And there I am standing outside Webster Hall wondering what the fuck I'm going to do. I look across the street. Oh, hey, is that so-and-so? Holy shit. And then I link up with them, and it was like we just bar hopped and we went to different clubs until like 4 a.m. And Pyramid was like the last. Pyramid was the last place we went to, and Pyramid was fun. Not gonna lie, that place was like
it's
really
small, it's dirty, it's dingy, it's fun. It's got 2 floors. They always got a nice vibe.
Yeah, that's what gives it the vibe. Like, you ever go into like a bar or a club and you're just trying to figure out what the vibe is, like as you're in there with your friends. Like, I remember a few times when me and my friends would bar hop in Manhattan, we would like glance into bars and we would be trying to get like a proper feel for what's going on there. And, I wonder how the bartenders would feel. They'll be looking at the entrance and they just see us like kind of glance in, like, kind of sticking our heads in, looking to just kind of case the place, because thinking, all right, is this like the kind of bar where I'm going to have fun or I'm going to get stabbed?
Right.
That's what I really need to know. And it always goes to like, is this like I say, is this a stabby bar or is this a vibey bar? Yeah, those are the only 2 options you have when it comes to bar hopping or club hopping. And that's why I don't go to clubs in Brooklyn. I don't go to clubs in Brooklyn or Bronx. Those are stabby venues. I'm saying it's for everyone there. Like, if you're ever in New York City and you want what is basically Detroit, like New York Detroit edition, just go to Bronx. There you go. That's the closest.
Anyone ever tell you that your voice, the inflection, I'm not sure if it's accent, but you sound so much like Bus Driver. You know the rapper Bus Driver? It's like terrifying how much your voice sounds like.
I've had people, I've been mistaken for like so many different people. I've had people say I look like Jay-Z and I sound like Jay-Z. I once had someone say I look like Kevin Hart, and that was a hit.
Well, you're like 5'2"?
I was just about to make a short joke. I'm not that fucking short. No, I was on the train with my friends, and we were just going out for the night, and there was this guy who was looking over at us, and he eventually comes over, just like, "Oh, I'm sorry, for a second I thought you were Kevin Hart," and I had to come over and clarify. And as soon as he said that, all my friends just look at me and they just start laughing. Like, I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna live this down for the rest of the fucking night now. All right.
But he was like, you look like a tall Kevin Hart, right?
I wish he said that. He didn't say that.
Right. No, he didn't say that.
If he had said, I am not as short as Kevin Hart, I at least wait. How tall is Kevin Hart? Like,
I don't know, man. I swear he's like 5 feet. I seen him next to Shaq, and it looks like he's his little brother.
Well, everyone is short next to Shaq.
That's true, but Kevin Hart's really short next to Shaq.
Wait, I'm gonna need to. I need to.
Gonna look it up.
I'm gonna look this up.
How tall is Kevin Hart? 5'2", baby. Yeah.
5'2.5".
Oh, shut up.
Which is how you know he's short, because you know he's making sure that half is in there. I know, because I'm also
literally
short.
only like 3 inches taller than Kevin Hart. I'm 5'5". This is not a good day for me.
Yes, I know. They've been trying to get Will to say first in the chat for like the last, I don't know how long we've been talking, but you know he won't say it, and then he said, "Don't be a Danny Mo," and then
Dave
what is your major malfunction? Did Danny come in and say first?
No, Dave Brink, Genuine Comics, came in and said first right before. And then Will goes, "Damn it, Dave!" And that's why Mo is having an aneurysm, because it was literally.
Oh, this is the kind of shit show that we have, man. Welcome to the channel. So when you were growing up, you said
hi to Dave and Hockey.
Oh, hey, yeah. Hi, Dave Brink from Genuine Comics, and hello, Hockey. We're glad to see you, my brother. So happy you are with us.
And we also have Connery.
Hey, what's up, Connery? Yes, actually, no, you did not miss something. We've been bullshitting and hanging out. But it's going to be cool because Robert Livingston here is actually working on a project called Bite, but he's also working on 2 other projects. One is Tom and Artie, and the other one is Kaiju Days. And I think you and Connery have something in common with the artist on Kaiju Days.
Ninja Haiku 21?
Ninja, yeah. I think Connery was looking at having Ninja be one of his artists working on his book. So I was like, yo, you gotta come and talk, in the chat to this guy, because, you 2 guys have, like, similar tastes in artists and shit. Anyway, let's get back to it, though. When you were growing up in the hood, starting off, what kind of comics did you like to read back in the day?
It was a lot of Marvel and DC, like the basic big 2 stuff. But I didn't really have a big taste in comics until I would say my early 20s, because I mean, as stupid as it was, when I was younger, I was always trying to be a poser. So it's like my parents would because my mom is like is a Trekkie, and my dad was always like a Marvel and DC fan. So they would so my dad would sometimes give me comics, and my mind would be like, oh, I ain't no nerd. I ain't gonna read no comics. Well, at the same time, I was still playing a bunch of games, and I was watching every single thing about DC and Marvel, the Justice League cartoon, Batman animated series, all that good stuff. I would always watch it. So I was pretty much a nerd in self-denial. That is honestly the truth. I was a nerd in self-denial until I got into college.
Until you got into college, and then you embraced your nerddom, and you were like, you let your freak flag fly, and you were like, I don't give a fuck, who cares? Because you were surrounded by people who had similar interests, right?
So Will said that. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Talk.
I was say Will said that he missed out on the hints because he was talking to his girlfriend who just got back from the hospital, and then Mo is savage and says, "It's a shame you can't warm her up with a new Mavericks blanket."
Mo, the injury, the insult to the injury. We also got Frog G with us. Congratulations, Frog G. Yes. Also, Unhinged Entertainment's in the chat with them. Thanks for coming in, guys. These guys are killing it right now. It's their first week. They're so close to 10K right now. It's fantastic to see these guys.
All right,
crushing
that's
these numbers.
All right, that's great. Come on, just give them a round of applause. Come on.
Yeah. We've backed them. These guys.
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. we're all happy to see you succeeding on that level. You guys really are hustling. Love to see it. So
we also have Juanito in the chat.
Is B-Rose gay?
No, he can't wait to show you guys his.
Oh, his cock.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can't wait to see your cock.
Okay.
It's gonna be great.
Okay. Well,
his creator.
Yeah, it's his creator-owned comics, right? So like we're all huge cock fans around here. Anyway, so when growing up, you did Marvel and DC, but your stuff looks a little bit different than the traditional shit, right? So what kind of comics do you read now?
What really got me big in depth in the comics was Scud the Disposable Assassin.
Nice.
I remember when I really wanted to get into comics one day, like where I work in the city, we're not too far from a comic shop. One of the comic shops by Union Square. You probably know the one.
Yeah. St. Mark's.
Yeah, around there. And I made it a goal where I would go to a comic shop. I wouldn't look up like any recommendation titles. I would just go there and I would look at covers and I would buy, what interests me based off the covers. And I went to a comic shop and I bought Scud, I bought Kaiju Max Volume 1, I bought Quantum and Woody, and everything from there was, it kicked off from there. That was what really sparked my love into comics, because when I was doing my commute to and from work, I would be on the train just reading comics. I would be there reading Scud, and Scud was Scud was just phenomenal to me.
Scud was a great book back in the day.
Scud was a phenomenal book to me. That was also semi how I got into reading Atomic Robo at the same time
Throw
as
Tom
well.
and Artie up on the screen.
Oh.
I gotta say though, I saw this book of yours, Tom and Artie, and I was like, that's Sam and Max. Straight up. That has to be.
The irony of that is that I only saw the cartoon of Sam and Max. I never read the comic because
I read the comic book.
The comic is hard to get. I don't mean it's hard to understand. I mean it's hard to find a physical version of it because it never got put into freaking reprint, and it never got put into never got a digital re-release or something like that. And
I got trades. I got whole trades of them from back in the day. I am older than you by a considerable margin. So understand that when I say I read it because I was sitting on the floor in the comic shop with the dust bunnies flipping through that shit and eventually, buying them when I had the money, when I could hustle up some money. But anyway, yeah, this comic of yours looks so, distinct. You can tell the influence that Steve Purcell had on you.
The irony, with the comics. No, another thing about that is that my editor on the book, Mike Stevens, is also working on a comic that's called Fridge Girl. If you haven't heard that, look that up later. But he actually managed to get a copy of Tom and Artie to Steve Purcell at a con.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, he actually told me he managed to do this. This was like a little bit after we did a con that was in it was Silicon Valley Comic Con 2019, and we still have some comics left over, and he was going to a con I think a week or two later, or it was a month later. I can't really remember clearly, but he did manage to go to Steve Purcell, who was at the con, and give him a copy of Tom and Artie. And he told him that, this was a book that was inspired by the likes of Sam and Max. And he took the book, he opened it, he looked at it, he actually was happy about this. He was happy to see something that was inspired by his work.
Quite clear.
Yeah. And
100%.
Yeah, he was saying that, it's good that, other people are still doing stuff that's inspired by his work. But he was able to see the difference in where the book deviates from it. Because, when Sam and Max was written, it was written around the jokes. He had said that when he made the book, the jokes were made first. And then the plot was written around the jokes in order to get to them. But when we do Tom and Artie, I write it more around the plot, and you're going, the jokes are kind of following along, but it's going A to B with the plot. Right. And yeah, it was so great that he managed to get a copy to him. I also wish he had asked him, "Can you please just get like a Sam and Max reprint going somehow?"
Right?
We know
Right.
we've seen you're still drawing them. We've seen your Facebook and all. You're still drawing the characters. So just get a reprint going, man.
For real. In case y'all out there don't know, this is Sam and Max. It was a great book from back in the day. Hilarious. This was like the time Ralph Snart was circulating and some of the real cool indie titles that were just alternative. I wouldn't say that they're really indie, but they were alternative books. Like you said, Quantum and Woody from Valiant, right? Like Valiant was kind of an alternative comic. It wasn't indie because it wasn't under the radar. It wasn't
these were a good time with a lot of these comics that came from the 90s in the indie market because of the fact that it felt like there was a lot more chances for books then, because Sam and Max, Earthworm Jim, some of these other comics, they managed to get cartoons. They all managed to get cartoons.
And Mo just said it. He said Sam and Max are Scud from the Sega Saturn. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mo's the only other person that knows
Sega Saturn. Right.
Yeah, they all got all this coverage.
Only knows Sam and Max from the games.
There's a lot of people who have like different knowledge of Sam and Max, and it's always either most people are going to say they know them from the cartoon or they know them from the games. And I think that just goes with the fact that getting the comics now is pretty difficult. Unless you're pirating, it's easier to find it then. But if you're a purist, then getting the books is quite the task. That's the honest part.
Of course, Mo knows.
I know.
I don't know why you thought.
I was just being a little bitch about it. Okay, but let's say hello to Vengeance Productions. Vengeance is here. Glad to have you with us. We got Rick Saylor. What's up, Rick? And we also have Ghostface, one of the
welcome, Ghostface.
Yeah, first time I think we've seen you in the chat, if I recall.
Fun.
So what defines your love of the comic book medium? Was there a particular book that inspired you to try making one of your own?
Oh man, I gotta actually think about that.
That's a tough question, I know, for a lot of people.
It's a really tough question because, like, I worked on small comics before I did like Tom and Artie, but they weren't, they were all test runs. It's not really stuff that you could find out there on the internet because it's like still on my computer. It was like with a small group of people because I wanted to practice before I did it, but I'm trying to remember the exact time I decided I wanted to do a comic. And it's like certain events are coming to my mind and I'm remembering when, but not exactly. I think it might have been like Scud and Atomic Robo that pushed me.
Mm-hmm. Atomic Robo, yep.
But at the same time, oh my god, I can't really remember. That's the hard part. I know the time frame it happened in because I remember I was still in college, I was working retail, and I wanted to do a comic. I remember
it might not have been a comic book that inspired you to do it. It might have been like the comics in your mind that were all things you love, but then like some other external forces, maybe entertainment, television, music, any of those other things pushed you to want to express the stories that you have.
What really got me, I remember what I really wanted to be what really pushed me was just that one day I said, I'm tired of just talking about my ideas. I want to make my ideas. I wanted to stop being one of those people who keeps because in the previous times I would have joined like comic servers with people and people would be working on their books and they would be talking about it. And you see, I'm a writer. Like I pay an artist. I have no shame in that. I love everyone I work with on all my books. But when I was in some of these comic servers and the thought process hit me like really, really quick when I was seeing like the response of when an artist would talk about their project compared to when a writer would talk about their project, which is just that an artist can, give visual concepts. They can get people talking. A writer can write a bunch of text, but let's be honest, not a lot of people are reading. So I thought, I'm going to stop talking about my ideas because no one cares about them until they get art. So I'm going to strap down, I'm going to learn how to do a comic, and I'm going to come back into these spheres when I have a book of my own to actually talk about and show off. So,
right, you went and you learned, like you went and studied, layouts. You went and studied how to write for comics, even though there's no one like chosen specific way. You had to learn how to convey your ideas to the artist. So when you started doing books, how long have you been making them, and how many of your comics are out there, and do you have any in print?
I started making books back in, I would say, 2016ish. 2016, 2017, that was when I really started making books, with like Tom and Artie being the first one, and then came along with Bite, and then what came along was Kaiju Days. Now, are any of the books currently in print? No, sadly they are not. The only way to get the books in print is when I do the occasional convention, or in the rare case, I suddenly pop up and say, I have spare copies that I'm willing to, sell to people. And that was like, it was, I mean, when I first started Tom and Artie, I did, reach out to publishers, and I got rejected by like almost all of them.
Everybody.
And, yeah, of course. And I didn't feel bad about that. Honestly, I put that out, but I didn't feel bad when I got rejections. I felt like, that's just how it is. It's rare that people get their first book picked up. And maybe I need to actually work on this book on my own terms before I start reaching out to publishers with my stuff, to show that I have like a good grasp and I can actually get this work done. I mean, the irony is that the only publisher that wanted to sign on with me was Action Lab, but we all know what happened with Action Lab, right?
Yeah, right. That's probably for the best right there, my dude.
No, that was like, I don't want to cast any shade or anything.
Bullet dodged.
But yeah, bullet dodged was like a major thing I said, because they reached out, because I sent them the whole thing, and they reached out to me, and they gave me like the contract and stuff, and I was reading it over, but at the same time, this is another thing I'm going to say for anyone who's like who's a new creator. If you get that first contract, do not fall for the glamour of someone wanting to print your book. Do not
take
let
it to an entertainment lawyer. Let them look it over with you.
Yeah,
get a free consultation.
That's what I did, because in New York City there was a comic creator meetup, and I went there, and actually one of the contacts I had there, his boyfriend was there, and his boyfriend was actually an entertainment lawyer as well. So I handed him the contract to look over, and he started like telling me, what it was about the contract that was working. But the top thing he told me was that, you see some of these words in this contract, a lot of these have double meanings, and that's what you want to watch out for. There are certain terms that they use that you won't know what exactly they mean, and either you want to press on that, or that is something you're going to want to pay attention to. And usually it's going to be in the determination of payment and rights situation. That is the one thing you're going to always want to pay attention to. There is like those certain words you got to look out for, are words that say if it hits a certain amount, but they don't say the amount. Another thing is that you have to pay attention to how long they want to hold on to the rights of your book. Are they giving you
in perpetuity is a red flag.
Exactly. You want to pay attention to those things, because you don't want to end up where you're like, you're psyched, you just sign the contract, and then bada bing, bada boom, you're not getting paid for months, and your book isn't getting put out there. So when I had rejected Action Lab, and I went to do these things on my own terms, and then like a couple of years later I saw the articles about the lawsuits, and I instantly told Mike, I messaged him, I was just like, you see, tell me how much of a bullet we dodged right here. Do you see how much of a bullet we dodged? It wasn't even a bullet, it was just like, Matrix slow motion dodging an entire machine gun fire right there.
What are you throwing on the floor?
Oh, my headphones.
Your headphones fell out of your pocket or something. You'll get that
you guys
later.
Good?
Yeah. She has a spare pair of headphones. I guess they were in the blanket, and
I thought they were in my pocket.
So Tom and Artie, It's inspired by Scud and Sam and Max, Steve Purcell, but Bite reminds me more of Street Sharks. And that's the one that you're here to talk about today, specifically because you got that pre-launch page set up. So why don't you tell us about Bite? What's the premise? Who are the main characters? Who are the antagonists? What's the conflict? What are the stakes? That kind of shit. Give me the pitch.
Okay, now Bite, how it originally started, ironically, it was a Street Sharks like spinoff. Like when I first conceptualized it, it was simply because I reached out to Mike and I told him, dude, you know what we should do as a joke? We should write a Street Sharks reboot. Like we should just do it as a gag comic for like a few pages. And you know, originally he was gonna write one part and I was gonna write the other. But eventually, I was really liking what I was writing by itself, and that was what slowly started shifting into Bite. And at first, Mike was not on board with the project. He was not with it. It took me weeks to a month in order to push at him to get him to eventually say, you know what, this sounds like a pretty good idea. I'm going to come on board with this. Now, what Bite is about three sharks who were once known as the Terror Trio. Their names being Warwick, Olivia, and Truman. They were created by the Dread organization, which is this Cobra-like organization in this comic world.
So we got some G.I. Joe thrown in here.
Yeah, exactly. This comic is very much inspired by the likes of Street Sharks, G.I. Joe, and a lot of R-rated movies I've seen over the years. Now, when you have these two what had happened was that Dread wanted to conquer the world years ago. And they came really, really close. But they got overambitious with everything they wanted to do. So you see the three Terror Trio right there. Yeah, they're great at fighting, but they were expensive to make. They were expensive to make.
Do you know how much it costs to feed you?
Yeah, exactly. They were made from the ground up genetically. And Dread invested all this money into it was just like referring to how in G.I. Joe in the classic cartoon and all the old comics, they would always have all these big machines, all these big devices, and you would be thinking, yeah, it's cool, but how much does that cost though? How much did that take? And that was the thing that led to Dread's downfall. They spent way too much, they couldn't recoup their losses. And eventually, they had to start shutting doors because, world domination is cool and all, but it's not going to pay the bills.
Right.
So they managed to talk it off. The trio got their freedom, but I'm not going to spoil a lot. It's going to be explained in the comic how they got their freedom. And they had to reintegrate into, society. The comic currently takes place years after the fall of Dread. What you're seeing in the strip right there is this is a flashback. This is when they still work for the organization. Well, work is a really broad term because that was implied they were getting paid. They were henchmen. That was pretty much it. They were henchmen. And the current place of the comic, it takes place years afterwards. They've moved on with their lives. Warwick works in business. Olivia is doing odd jobs. Truman works at an animation studio. And what's happening in the comic is that they're all getting together, just having a good time. But lo and behold, Dread is coming back. Dread has now come back. Apparently under new management. Because previously it was run by a man who was named the Dreadmaster. He was this big guy. He had a voice that could command an army. And even though he made all these ambitious goals, the Dreadmaster was the kind of leader where, he had the ambition and he had the voice that would make you go, I would follow this man into hell and back. But now Dread has come back and is under new management of the Dread Mistress. this new female villain who says that she's popped up now with an entire army of soldiers, all these new gadgets, a freaking ninja working for her, and she pops up and she's telling them Dread is coming back and you guys are coming back with it whether you like it or not, because far as I'm concerned, you're not people, you're property.
Right? Yeah, they're your genetic creations. And honestly, ninjas are far more affordable than sharks. So these guys are in a rough position. So yeah, Razmain was saying he's calling you out, saying, "Wait, Robert said Olivia," and that's Olivia right there, right? The one with the 3 piercings in her fin. So tell us about the characters. I know we got dossiers right here, which they look really well put together too. These look very cleverly set up.
There's 3 of them. You see Warwick, Truman, and Olivia, and it's falling in with their different code names, which is Terror 1, which is Warwick, Terror 2, which is Truman, and Terror 3, which is Olivia. They were made a part of the a part of the group to be weapons. Now, Warwick was the first one that was made. And Warwick is technically the smartest of the trio, which is why he's the leader. That's why he's the one who was the most put together after they've left Dread. Warwick is the one that keeps the other 2 in line. He's pretty much like the big brother who keeps everything going on track. He operates well under pressure. He's like the guy who is often the one that needs to bail them out if things get really, really hectic. And you have Truman there, and Truman is literally the emphasis of a walking tank. His body is practically bulletproof. He would be going into the battlefield lugging light machine guns in one hand and RPG in the other, and just utterly mowing down soldier after soldier. And the thing is, now he's trying to move past all his violent tendencies of his old life.
Hojo wants to know. He wants to know if the shark people were inspired by Christopher Moltisanti from The Sopranos. You remember Christopher, the big schnoz?
To be honest, I never saw The Sopranos. Sadly.
Oh, my friend, we got to culture you up.
It's on my list of things to watch. There's a lot of things I need to watch over the years. I'm just not as up to date with media.
So are you? Oh, Mo Biggs wants to know if you're doing a Shark Week type promotion for launch. That would be genius.
We've tried to coincide and release on. We've stepped up advertising typically during Shark Week, honestly. And I had plans to do that, but to be honest with this book for the first issue has been in production longer than it should have been in production, if I'm being totally honest. Because
that's the way it is with a lot of indie comics.
Yeah, because originally we were going to be done back in 2019-ish. We were going to be done back in 2019-ish to 2020-ish. And all this stuff happened in between when we first did our Ashcan and to now. A lot of things happened, my bills ran up, other things happened with the artists. We actually are going to be changing artists for the rest of the book. So all the artwork you see right there is done by Roger Bonnet Martinez, but the rest of the book is going to be done by Juan Pablo Massa. But the coloring is still going to be done by Esther Pimentel, and it's going to be lettered by Christian Dokomansky.
Yeah,
I'm pretty. Yeah.
I can't. I can only call Christian Doc. That's it.
I know. Look, I've met the guy. I've met the guy in real life, and I know how hard his last name is. It could be to pronounce. But yeah, so there was a little shakeup on there, and with how long it took the book to come into because right now it's still being colored. It was all the pages were inked and everything a few months ago, and now it's being colored. Now, if this was a year or two ago, the coloring would have already been done because the colorist would have already had more free time then. But with everything that's happened, the colorists had to take on a lot of their responsibilities. So the coloring work is taking a little bit longer, but to be honest, I know this is a bad thing. I usually don't like to rush the people I work with because I always feel that, if you rush people, you're going to get rushed work. And
that's what I think too.
Yeah, you just talk them out. You get things planned out.
Easy to get taken advantage of, though, my dude. It is so easy. Like, you start showing people compassion or patience or whatever, and they mistake patience for weakness, which is when I got to turn on the Jim Shooter and let them know what's what. Luckily, I have other people that I work with who can, scream at them about deadlines and shit like that.
Yeah,
I'm the mean one.
You are, and Odin does a really good job of crawling up people's butts with pointy sticks too. It's
that's a lesson I had to learn. That's a lesson I had to learn like so much recently. Was because I recognize for a lot of my projects, I am way too nice when it comes to like how I treat my team. And
so Kaiju Days is aimed at a younger audience, right? Tom and Artie is aimed kind of at all ages, and Bite is rated M for mature. I gotta ask you, I know you said that this book was coming out probably like 2 years ago and it's been stalled in development, you're replacing artists, things happen, I understand that. And I understand that you want to like wait and get it right. I always say like the perfect is the enemy of the good, but it's gotta be good enough, and you'll know when it's good enough to go. But what are your ambitions? You got 3 books here. None of them are in physical print yet in circulation, right? What do you want to be doing with these comics?
Honestly, I just like making comics. That's the simple way about it. I will not lie, I am utterly fucking terrible at marketing. I just make shit. I know it's not a good thing to say, but a lot of times I just kind of make shit. And if I market it, it's like I will be good at marketing for like maybe a week and then not say anything for like the next week. And I've had ambitions with some of these projects where I like to reach like bigger audiences with them, but at the same time, I wanted to retain like a level of creative control on what I have with my projects. Because I've got like a lot of other stuff going on in my life. So I never really went far out there with going after a publisher was because of like, I always prioritized everything I needed to do in real life first, which was, my job, going to college, that kind of stuff. And it's only until like recently that I was starting to think of, okay, maybe I should start looking for better ambitions with these projects like that. Because Kaiju Days, it did get picked up by an upcoming publisher, which is Gen Comics. And that is like a publisher my friend is starting. And we're doing the startup right now. And we're going to have like 3 different titles in like the next year or 2 that are going to go along with the startup to release, which is Kaiju Days, Serpent Spectre, and another comic project that a friend of mine is working on.
At least you gave her a 5.
Shit. I'm sorry. There's a lot of activity going on in the chat. Let me say hello to some people real quick. We have What About with us. Thank you so much for tuning in. We also had Delicate Art. I don't know if I'm going back far enough to get everybody, but I know I saw Edwin, Indie Wrestling Aces. What's up, Edwin? Speaking of a guy who loves big sharks and cannot lie, you should check out his comic book, The Ace. He has got one heck of a anti-hero antagonist. It's a anthropomorphic shark dude with robot legs. I love it. We've also got
What about?
Yeah, I said what about. We also got Hojo with us. What's up, my boy Hojo? Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got Alejandro from Inkfinity Comics. What's up, guys? How is everyone? We're doing all right. I think I said hi to Rick earlier. Just want to make sure. Hail, Rick Saylor. Thanks for joining us.
We also have Broken Compass Comic.
Hey, you finally got to say one.
I did. I've been trying to get a word in edgewise for a while now. I promised Mo I'd go back and read
just push
his
the buttons.
comments.
Just push the buttons. That's what you do.
Mo said, they mistake patience for weakness. I don't think this dude realizes
he's swimming with sharks.
And then the next one that made me laugh. And you looked at me like I was weird because you didn't understand the context, which is right here.
When Bancroft streamed?
No.
Oh, okay.
Don't think of it as marketing. Think of it as
Sharkening. Oh,
yeah.
That's
See,
good.
Mike.
That's good.
Honestly, Mo's a genius at this kind of shit. So hang around here for a while. There'll be a lot of stuff that comes up and ideas that you can use and shit like that. I miss
Mo's comment about Bancroft.
We're not going to go back and talk about that one
because you're going to get in trouble again. Bancroft is not the only one who sticks his feet in his mouth.
I stick my foot in your mouth.
No.
So actually, the bite ash can. Oh, sorry. What's up?
No, I was gonna say I was looking through the comments here. I actually see an earlier comment here from Mo Biggs that says,
Biggs, yeah,
that says this borders on furry content. I'm just glad it's not called Skeet Sharks.
Yeah, I know.
The whole furry content thing. Look, to be honest, I've made books that appeal to furries. Like all 3 of my comics right now appeal to furries, and I don't regret it. Because they bring the attention and they bring the money as well. Not gonna
That's what I'm gonna say. All right, so that's the thing. You can make a good book that has good characters. It's well conceived, well paced, well written, well illustrated, fun and enjoyable, and also appeals to furries. But here's the thing: Tom and Artie has been up on Top Us for a while, right? How long has it been up on Top Us?
Since 2018.
Okay, so in 4 years, it has 90,000 views. Probably from a bunch of furries, right? But I would love to have 90,000 potential customers willing to give me $1 for my digital or $5 for my floppy.
It's honestly because Tapas has signal boosted the comic a few times.
Because it's furry. Yeah.
It's actually because I'm black.
No way, really?
They put me in articles that were like, they put me in articles for like Black History Month, and they have, those were give like a real good like hits of views. I think they've advertised it on like their Instagram or something before, but I'm not entirely sure.
Bite's got 1,000 also, and I think that just went up. It's also on Global Comics, and it has 1,000 there. And Tom and Artie has 5,000 on Global Comics. So it's not just that you're getting signal boosted. Let's be honest, right? Alejandro says, here's the ultimate question. Is it furry if it has no fur? Because sharks don't have fur. Mo says that's why I said it was borderline. If someone wants to bang a shark, they're more scurry than furry. We got Dean with us. What's up, Comics
coming in at the most interesting time.
Definitely.
No, I see a comment here from Ink Fendi that said this stuff used to be called anthropomorphic. Yeah, I still call it that. I still call it that. It's like I just like using anthro characters because I think they're more visually interesting. And a lot of
you and Connery both.
Yeah, a lot of artists I've worked with, they've agreed with that. Now, while like Tom and Artie, it's got like all these different character designs with it. For like a lot of the comic, I did focus on anthropomorphic character designs with it. Though coming into like the later chapters of the comic that I'm planning out with my artist on Sky Sunny MQ, by the way, we were actually exploring other designs outside of just like let's make an anthro character. We wanted to start exploring like new stuff that would be visually interesting, not just for character designs, but also like backgrounds as well. Because there was like a big thing. Because not gonna lie, when I look at the earlier issues of Tom and Artie, like the first 3 issues, all I think sometimes is just, oh my god, there's so much shit I want to go back and change. I want to go back and change. I want to go back and get like some of the lettering changed because it was before I was really in depth with writing comics, and I want to just like lower some lines. There were some pages I wish that we could. Even Sky has agreed with me that there were some pages we would want to redo. And there was actually a brief time after we finished issue 3, we were debating on going back and like redoing some pages from like issue 1, 2, and 3. And eventually we just thought, you know what? They can stay like that. We can do that later, but let's just do it where we're going to improve on the comic pushing forward. Everything that we wanted to improve on, everything we felt we did wrong, we're just going to improve on in the next issue.
I should have said squids.
Squids.
So no, he said it started with Broken Walrus saying shark lust, you're gonna need a bigger boat, play off Jaws. And then Mobig said, hide your walrus, hide your kids.
Hide your kids.
Because Broken Compass Comics has a walrus in his comic. It's an interdimensional walrus. So there's I should have said squids.
Not measure up.
Yeah, just dinging not measure up. Nicely done, Frog. Nicely done.
The chat's out of control,
but it's fun.
Yeah, man, I love my chat, man. I love my chat. There are a lot of shows around here that have great chats too. You should hang out and take in the sights. Is what I'm saying. There are a lot of fun shows on YouTube.
I honestly haven't done like a podcast in so long that this feels pretty good.
Well, don't worry. Like, there are a lot of people that you should talk to, and I'm going to send you some names. See if we can get you doing your own Shark Week, maybe some pro marketing. That's another thing that I wanted to ask. Is they say success in indie comics is owed to the company you keep. So, who do you market with? What circles do you run in?
I usually ran around a lot in the. I used to be involved in the indie comic circle at the start. But I gradually moved more into the webcomic circle, and I'm trying to break back into the indie comic circle.
Well, that's what I'm seeing is because you're on Top Us and Global Comics.
Yeah. And this was generally because when I would talk to indie creators versus webcomic creators were a lot more honest with how they wanted to do their craft. With how they wanted to make a story, they wanted to entertain, they wanted to improve their stuff. They were a lot more about the reader in a lot of cases with webcomic circles compared to indie circles. When I was in indie circles, everyone was more or less just was thinking about what is the best way to maximize profits, what is the best way to like get this and that, who are the best names I can associate with. And I just didn't like the vibe that it was just so very concerned more about the monetary aspect and just trying to suck up to the biggest things possible than just trying to just make the book. To make the book, be happy about what you're making. You can market it, obviously. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that you want to, keep a business mind with what you're making.
Right.
But
well, you gotta translate it into some sort of financial positivity. Otherwise, you're like, you got to get into the black somehow. Otherwise, you're just spending a lot of money to make books, which is absolutely cool, and I applaud that. But then it's a hobby. It's not like a business. You're just making comics for fun and you're taking the financial hit, and that can be rough. Have you made any money on Global Comics? Because I know a lot of people like Cody, and I know Nick, and I know Tyler, they all have their stuff up there and they make a reasonable amount. It's not like a huge cash flow, but they do make some money out there. So how are you doing on Global Comics?
No, I don't make any money on Global Comics. Everything on
well, it's because you have it all up for free, right? You have it all accessible for free. And so has the free advertising, putting Tom and Artie up on Top Us and putting Byte up on Top Us, brought anyone to like a website where you can collect a mailing list so that you can get people together to market the crowdfunder, so that you can put books into print and get them in their hands? Like, do you have a place to collect a mailing list, something like that?
Honestly, not yet. That's actually a pretty
I got to get
idea.
Your back, bro. I got to get your back. Like, there's some stuff we got to talk about. I'm going to give you a little bit of information because I think you got a cool book here. Like, it looks fun. It looks action oriented. I've been reading some of the pages, not just looking at some of the pages, and you have a decent knack for dialogue. I really like the look of Tom and Artie. I think a Tom and Artie book would be hella dope. You've got a bunch of chapters already ready to go. I mean, that book has legs. You know what I mean? So all it looks like you need is just a way to sort of capitalize on an audience that exists that you may not know you already have access to, that you can put the book in front of and get interested and get excited. And that's where the marketing, advertising, all that other stuff comes in. But I promised everybody in the chat I would ask you about this. Have you ever crowdfunded anything before?
Let's hear that. Let's see some of the comments about that.
No, I'm asking, like, have you ever crowdfunded anything? Where we got Frog G was asking what your policy is on shipping, if you're going to be bagged and boarded with Gemini mailer, something like that. I mean, like, because this show is very much about, it's creator focused, right? We talk to you, we talk about your project, but another thing we definitely want to talk about is your campaign. So right now you're in sign up. Any idea when you're going to launch?
What I intended for launch is that I wanted to launch the book when we had a good number of the pages colored. And right now, a good number of the pages are colored, and we were actually planning out when was an exact proper launch date for when we wanted to get it rolling. Now, in terms of what is I see a shipping policy, bagged and boarded. Yes, I was looking at Gemini mailer for something like that, but I'm still taking an option because I have not crowdfunded a book before. That was the bit of nervousness for a lot of people, is like when we did our first crowdfunding campaign, it was a real learning experience. Have you backed a lot of comic book crowdfunding campaigns? Oh yeah, there's been some comics I've backed before.
Okay. So you know, like, you're familiar with a lot of the way that they get packaged, a lot of the tiers that you have to come up with to keep people, you know, it can't just be like the book. You know, you have to have a series of different rewards and stretch goals and stuff like that. Do you have any of that stuff planned out?
Oh, yes, we worked out tiers.
Okay, cool. All right. So what, you want to share any of those with us? Get us interested?
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me open up the document right here.
That'd be dope.
Awesome.
Where nice. I'm just going to see, where did I save these?
Sign up.
Well, while you're looking for that, Frog G has dropped the link for the sign-up list. Mo says he looked at Tapas. There are only 4 other books called Bite. Hey, Mo, there are books called Mavericks out there. They just spell it wrong. You know what I mean? So it might be called BYTE or whatever. You know, like, yeah, I saw that on Tapas too. But he's got quite a bit of presence over there on Tapas because of Tom and Artie. 90,000 might not sound huge by today's standards of like 3 million viewers per video and shit like that, but we all got to start somewhere. And you know, I've looked at some of the other people that, you know, we hang out with and do stuff with, and they're not quite as you know, well viewed maybe on Tapas or even Global Comics. So why not Webtoon? I gotta ask, because I know Tapas is a great place to put up comic books. And
it's on Webtoons. It's just
okay. So it is.
I'm generally not a big fan of Webtoons, if I'm being totally honest.
And why not?
I'm not a big fan of Webtoons because Webtoons is it is more geared to just the scrolling format, and it's really hard to kind of engage with your audience on there because there are certain things that Tapas offers over Webtoons that I like, which is that you can see when someone is, like, you know, subbing to your book. You can see when they're viewing it. Webtoon, and it's also just Webtoons has a very sink or swim kind of policy when you upload on there.
And they do a weird thing now with the way that people are getting paid over there. Also, I just saw Tyler uploaded a video.
It's hard marketing via. The only way that really helps with marketing on Webtoons is if you already know people who are on there and who are big. Because I know some creators. They're kind of in my circle they're big on Webtoons, and one would say that their success kind of just, like, you know, it just happened one day. It just happened. It was just out of nowhere. It just happened. Another one would tell me that they worked with, like, a lot of, like, other creators would boost their comic on there, and they have their comic both on Webtoons and Tapas, and does way better on Webtoons. But the only thing is about with Webtoons is that the audience on there is just that. There for the Webtoons, it always seems like it's rare if they're actually going to buy the full book if you do a campaign. I could be wrong. Like I said, there's probably plenty of people who have gone on there. They've had their book on there, and they've done, like, gangbusters in a campaign for it. But it's just been what I see in Webtoons. It requires, like, a little bit more luck and some more pull. And also, your comic needs to be geared in a certain way, because I keep things in the conventional sense.
I just hate vertical scrolling, man.
Oh yeah, I'm not a big
with the
fan
vertical
of
panel layouts. It's not comics. I would like to be able to do it. One of these days, I am going to push myself to learn how to do vertical panel layouts for the Webtoon format, because everybody is right when they're saying that Webtoon kind of is a place to what. Oh, okay. Webtoon is a place to start building a presence, but I like hearing what you have to say about Tapas, and I'm going to have to learn more about that, because digital really does seem like a market that people aren't very well established in if they're focusing on physical books. A lot of us around here, we offer a digital tier, but we'll fulfill the digital tier and then it never goes out again. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like we send it out as a PDF or as a Dropbox link or something, and then we never circulate it in any other way. We don't put it up for other people to see or to cultivate an audience with it. And I think that doing Tapas, Global Comics, that kind of stuff is definitely going to bring in more eyes. And speaking of eyes, how do you advertise? Or is it all word of mouth for you?
It's usually through advertising is done through Twitter and most social media and word of mouth. It's like I would make the occasional post on Twitter, and I don't always 100% bank on Twitter. Go everywhere. Go Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, any other place you can get your book out there and get eyes on it, and people can see it and talk about it. I mean, Reddit as well. Go for it. That's like ways to get it out there, but just don't feel discouraged if it's like you upload and you're not getting 50 likes or 50 likes and 20 retweets. Let's be honest. I know that you're gonna go on your wall and you're probably we've all been there. We've all been in those situations where we uploaded a post, maybe a new page, and we get maybe 5 likes and 1 retweet, and then we go on our wall and we see someone has uploaded 1 page and they got 100 likes and 50 retweets. Let's be clear here. Let's be clear here, bro. It's not always gonna happen like that. And not everyone is getting that luck. That's another thing with it. You shouldn't feel discouraged, because think about it. Those are all the people who hit like and retweet. Think of how many people have seen it and probably didn't just hit like, but they still took the time to read it. Maybe they did click a link. That kind of stuff. So don't always let the likes and retweets kill your vibe, because I had so many times where I would be doing posts and they would be going fucking nowhere with likes and retweets, and I would just feel so discouraged. And that was why I would suddenly stop posting for for a few weeks, or I would just mentally recoup.
Ichthus says, Bite is the comic that I've been waiting for. Ichthus, thank you so much for tuning in. He's a great guy. He's a great colorist. Really, really enthusiastic dude, too. I haven't been over to his channel in way too long. It's been too long since I visited Ichthus.
I don't get notifications.
Yeah, so. I don't know if he's been streaming. Frago, would you drop Ichthus's channel for me, please? I would really like that.
It'll take
but there's some really good energy over there, and if you want to ever talk to somebody and hang out with them and just shoot the shit for hours, Ichthus is definitely a guy to hang out with. So, did you find that document you were looking for? With
yes, I've had it open right now.
Awesome. So
I just have to share it.
Go to town, my dude.
Yeah, I was.
Big says, I can't find the official Bite MySpace page.
I'm sorry, I'm not in any band. But okay. Anyway, all right. What I was setting up for the tiers currently right now is that we were going to be charging digitally. All right. Firstly, this book is going to be around. It's going to be a 50-page book. This
50
is
pages. Okay.
Yeah, because this is including issue 1, but it's also including 2 mini comics with it, and also a third mini comic if it gets past stretch goal.
Are you going saddle stitched, or are you going with a square binding, a perfect binding,
we're going saddle stitch.
Okay, so you're doing staples.
Yeah.
What's the price point you're thinking for? And have you contacted any printers to suss out where they're at for printing prices?
The goal number that we were going to reach was going to be 1.5K.
But I mean per issue. How much is an issue of Bite going to cost?
Per issue of Bite, because we were... I actually do have this written down, because one of the printers I was going to go with was going to be Comics Wellspring, because I've used them before in the past.
Yeah.
Yep. And and full color for around 300 copies would be around $1K.
Right.
That's what we're
So what's your cover price per issue going to be is what I'm saying. Like 50 pages saddle stitched.
So if someone was
how much is that going to run me? Like what's that tier? What are you going to charge?
Like if I'm buying just the physical comic, how much am I going to have to pay?
Oh yeah, because digital only is a $10 tier. Print with digital is $20, and print digital with stickers and pins is $30. But that's like what we're currently discussing. If we were setting it, if it was going to be print with digital, was set at $20, but we're still thinking about the price points we want to put on just for print. But the print with digital setting as $20, that's what we're mostly looking to reach to.
Right. For $20 is a good price point. You want to aim for no more than 50 cents a page. So being $20 for 50 pages is definitely in your favor. One thing I would caution is to be aware that when books are like that size, 48 to 50 pages, saddle stitching can be difficult sometimes. The books don't always necessarily sit folded.
Just be careful with your paperweight.
The right way. Yeah, you got to be careful with your paperweight. Sometimes you get like the part in the middle where it just doesn't quite fold right. But these bigger books,
let me write that down.
Oh, don't worry, I got you on the backside, my dude. I got all this information for you. I'll be sending you emails and all that other stuff. We're going to keep in touch because I think you've got a very promising IP here, a very good addition to like what's going on around these parts, especially in physical form. So I'm going to help you out however I can.
Mobig says, "Are the stickers waterproof in case you want to decorate a shark to help promote the IP?"
In actuality,
That's a smart idea.
In actuality, I do have some of the stickers already printed on hand there, man.
Should sponsor a shark.
They're like the stickers. I'll let you know. Yeah, they are waterproof. They come from there was a certain sticker publisher. It was Sticker Mule. We got them from Sticker Mule.
Yep.
And they're good. They're good quality. They're waterproof. And hey, I've been carrying them around in my water bottle and no issue with them so far.
Yep.
We were originally going to get a water bottle. It'll work on a shark.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. Originally, we were going to make patches, but I looked into the price point of patches, and I thought, not for this campaign. Maybe another
they
one
can
down
be
the
a
line.
little bit daunting.
Yeah.
There's some merch ideas out there for like
stickers,
stretch goals and stuff.
Everything.
Oh, bookmarks also, right? There's a lot of different little merch opportunities out there. People like magnets, people like pins. There's stickers, there's patches, there's bookmarks.
Oh yeah, we got
there's
pins
standees.
as well.
Standees are another big thing.
We were actually
going
to do standees. We were looking.
Standees actually, like I think I could hook you up with a decent price on standees because for some reason people made acrylic it shot up in price over the past couple of months. I don't know if it was the impending trade war or anything like that, but it went up by a factor of like 6. It's way more expensive now than it was earlier last year in the summer.
Okay, I
Mo
really
says
appreciate that.
Patches might upset the shark, and you don't want that.
True.
Iron-ons, definitely. If it's an iron-on, that's going to upset him. Looking to get those acetate micro piranhas floating around.
No, I was only getting interested in patches is because like I got some. I have friends who were like military related or they like tactical gear, and they were asking if I was gonna make patches that they could put on their vests and shit.
Well, if we ever get you on Red Valkyrie, Shay's going to ask you about patches, so you might at least want to like take a look at some of the vendors. We know a guy. We know a guy,
calling
right?
you acetate.
Shut up! I read it wrong. It's tiny on my screen. I know it doesn't even have a T in it, but he
needs glasses.
I don't know. I do.
He does.
I can't see the net. We have
don't
like
worry,
a
you're
big
fine.
ass TV. I can't even see that. But yeah, so how are you going to plan to handle fulfillment and shipping and stuff like that? If you're selling or planning to order 300 copies, you're hopefully over ordering to go to conventions and stuff. So you're maybe estimating selling 120, 150 books, 200 books. That means that you're going to have to be mailing all that shit, right? So are you like planning to charge shipping? Where are you going to be packaging this stuff and shipping it out of? What's your plan for fulfillment?
In terms of shipping, Still looking into that, because my friend was telling me that there were options to help out with shipping. With packaging, that was pretty much going to have to be done by me. I'll have to set aside a couple of days in order to get that done. Because right now my living room has a whole bunch of space. That's probably where most of it is going to be going.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, I want my living room back. I do. I would like my living room back, please. Can the books get here, please? I want my living room back.
Our current date is October 8th because of the
hurricane.
weather.
Yeah, everything that can happen will happen.
Fun.
So, what's the greatest obstacle that you've had to face putting to what? What's the greatest obstacle you've had to face putting together a book to put it out?
Oh God. The greatest obstacle was I'm thinking about it, and the hardest obstacle wasn't even my writing, but sometimes I would say the hardest obstacle would have to be having to be understanding when issues pop up on the project that would slow things down. Because I had to do that a lot for this comic, where the artist would come to me and say that something happened, with an issue came up and this was going to delay things, and it would be all right. It's fine the first time, but when it happens the second and third time, then you start getting kind of antsy, because I'm always the kind of guy where I would feel like I want things done in a timely fashion, obviously, because I always think that I know this sounds like a paranoid mindset, but I always think of things like, all right, when you have a good idea, you want to get that good idea, or at least the process of the idea, done in the now, because it always feels like when you have the idea and you want to get it done, something is gonna happen that's gonna deviate away from it.
Yep.
Something's gonna happen. Yeah, something is gonna happen that's gonna cause issues. And that is exactly what happened. After we had finished the ash can, and I was paying off the first issue, I get hit with this notice at my at where I live, and they're just like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna be raising your rent," and I'm just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" We're gonna be raising your rent, and I'm just like, "Oh God, this is manageable," but now this is really kind of throwing a leg into things, kind of throwing a little bit of a problem into this. And with the other projects I do, with Tom and Artie and Kaiju Days, because Tom and Artie goes off without a hitch. I'm always thankful when I work with Sky, because Sky always gets things in on a timely fashion without any problems with it. Same with Kaiju Days and Ninja. Ninja has been doing great work with that project and has really come through on it, because I've had to go through maybe honestly, when it comes to Kaiju Days, I had to go through 3 artists, because all 3 of those artists, you can actually see it over the process of the project. No one could commit to a full book. They could all do all the character designs. Yep. They could do the short comics, but when it came time to do a full book, sadly no one could commit to that. There was
it's also, I mean, I've found that that artists in general, they have to really be dedicated to doing a project in order to pull it off, right? And a book that's 50 pages long, that's a serious commitment. A lot of artists out there who aren't really comic book style artists, a lot of the artists who they do more the cow arts, or the more how should I put it, Tumblr art. They don't really have the discipline to do panel layouts and full on comics. Now, I know Ninja's an exception. Ninja definitely has a more furry style to her art, but most people like that don't necessarily have the gumption, I would say, to take on a project like Kaiju Days.
I also feel it's because when you're working on a project, especially if it's a comic project, there's going to be a lot of times where it's basically you're going to be going long durations without like posting anything on social media because you're working on the book. And obviously you're not going to be showing off everything that's going on in your book because you want to save it for that final release. Now, during the brief time when we were getting ready to do like the Kaiju Days comic, me and my editor, Evan Davis, who's also the guy who runs Gen Comics, we were briefly talking about how we were going to do this. And I had the brief idea where I was saying, okay, you know what we could probably do? If we are having good momentum with Kaiju Days, we're having great momentum with it. So if we were to do like a gag a day kind of format for like maybe a few months, then we could easily secure like a lot. We could possibly easily secure funding for when we want to do like a full comic campaign. And when we were talking about thinking about it, I also thought, but at the same time, why the hell don't we just do the comic now? Because the script is already here. It's already what we need to work on. And
it's already going to be in like grayscale, right? You're not going full color.
Color's coming. Color is going to be.
Okay.
Color.
All right.
Esther Pimento is going to be coloring the book.
Mo says Gagaday sounds like how Bancroft secured his services with Rod Looper. He means
it's mostly like Gagaday is like all those. It's like those Shen comics you see where the punchline is always something about like life is hard or I did something that 4 panels, simple joke, shareable content. That's what it mostly is. Is that you're making content that could easily be digested and easily shared. And we did do that for a little bit, and that was like, half the reason that we suddenly had like a big surge of followers for Kaiju Days, and a bunch of people started pouring in to see what the project was about. And when we had like that big surge of followers come in, we were instantly thinking of, how do we capitalize on this? Because this is a once in a lifetime thing. Like, how do we properly use this while the momentum is right here? And we thought about it, and eventually I just made the decision that, what? Let's just do the comic. Let's just do the full
put
comic.
your money out up front. Yep.
Yeah, let's just do the full comic. We'll start paying the artists. We worked on the pages, and there's already some content that was on the back burner that needs to get done by other artists I work with, and that could come in slowly. The only thing that sucks about that, and I was explicitly clear with people on my Twitter when it came to that, was just that we're working on the full book right now, but since we're working on the full book, that means the content is gonna slow down. Like, there's not gonna be new stuff. There's not gonna be new stuff every week. There's not going to be like new things coming in every day. So all I ask is that people be patient as we're working on this book. We'll show like bits and pieces of what we're working on, but we just hope that you're all going to stay patient while we work on this book. And thankfully,
Mo says, I'd probably go with simple comic strips. Leave the deep-throated market penetration for once you have them hooked.
Oh yeah, because the whole thing.
Hooked.
Yeah, because I mean, with Kaiju Days, people were hooked on the book. People were hooked on the concept. They were asking, "Is there like a print version of this yet? Is there like is there a lot of places I can read the strips that were done?" And we were just like, even when we did like the short animatics, people were like subscribing to the YouTube I set up for it. And I was seeing like people subscribing. I'm just thinking, dude, there's not going to be like any content on this YouTube for like a while. I get that you guys are really jazzed, but come on, guys, it's going to be a little bit of a while. And that's like the thing that kind of sucks when you're working with a team. Things have to go at a certain pace, and I start feeling like that's lost in the current creative sphere, because everyone wants content now. They want content quick. It's like quantity. It's like more of a quantity thing now. They want tons of it now. They want tons of it as soon as they can, and they want it as quick as they can. And it's just getting harder to just kind of say that, can you guys wait a second while we work on this stuff? Because, you know, there's a certain process to making a book. It's not always going to be this quick like witted stuff. You need to give people time to make the content.
Yeah, you do. You have to give people time to make the content. But that's the other thing. As writers, you could be working on 3 books at once, right? You could be working on Bite and on Tom and Artie and on Kaiju Days and going in rotation. And that's why I said earlier, what are your ambitions? Because you've got a book that's kind of geared more towards a younger audience, an all ages friendly title, and a mature title. And with that in rotation, it seems like you could have regularly released fare once a quarter, you know, like 4 times a year, spring, summer, fall, and winter releases, you know what I mean? So it takes about, 3 months or so to put together a indie book that's 24 to 28 pages, fully like written, drawn, inked colored, proofed, lettered, and gone through pre-press or pre-flight. So what does Mo say? You can't give them too much at once. That's why it's a gag-a-day and not a shag-a-day. Ayo.
What said that they're okay with quickies. I don't know where.
Eric Grant wants to know if anyone has made a bite the cock joke yet. No, Eric, you are the first. You get to ring the bell. We got Dying Days with us. What is up, Dying Days?
Drive safely.
Yes, drive safe. You don't need to type.
Yep.
Grob, I agree with Robert's patient statement 100%. Yeah, so do I. But you also want to, keep it moving, right? You don't want to stagnate. One of the problems that we've been having right now with Mavericks is that we're in a period of sort of restructuring what's going on with the art, and it feels like it's a little bit stagnated. So putting out other titles is going to help us continue to stay visible and be marketed and have people know that we're doing stuff. So even if stuff stalls out with Bite, if you're pushing Tom and Artie, if you're pushing Kaiju Days, then people are aware of you, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think you should go for campaigns on all of them.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the main thing that rolls with it in terms of stagnation. Because if you look on the Bite Twitter, you will see I have not posted on there in literally a month. Because we've been setting up and, getting the page updates as I can, building them in. And I'm going to start updating more again to let people know about the campaign. But it's also working for what is drawing people in for the book and trying to get some artwork that could be geared towards that. Now, Bite, obviously people are coming for, the sharks, the violence, the high octane action of that stuff. When it came to Tom and Artie became a bit of a focus of mine for the past month or two to really get it out, to really see what is getting it out there, because Tom and Artie has always been a weird enigma to me in terms of marketing. It feels like I can get people to read the book and they will like the book, but it feels like I can't get people to talk about the book. That was majorly the issue I had with it. And there was also this weird thing with the Twitter. I know everyone complains about algorithm, algorithm is fucking me over, yada yada yada. But it was really weird. I noticed with 1 month in Tom and Artie, posts on it would be reaching tons of people, and then literally next month I can barely struggle to get out of a circuit of 5 people, 5 or 7 people. And when you're sometimes on Twitter and you make a post, you're happy to see the same names, but eventually when you make a post for your advertising and you keep seeing the same names, you keep thinking, what the fuck is going on here? Why am I not reaching anyone new with this? But then I go on Kaiju Days, and Kaiju Days has hit a point where I don't even need to try with the marketing anymore. I can just put up a post on there of even content that was already done, and it's reaching new people all the time now. And that was because in that initial phase of when it really kicked off, a lot of high follow people, followed the project. And the thing is that usually when high follow people, follow a comic project, I don't expect much of it. but the difference was that some of these people were actually literally, they were engaging and sharing it. And so that's why I'm like, okay, I don't need to try with that anymore. And now I'm going to move on to like back to Bite and Tom and Artie to figure out better ways I can market it. But at the same time, I'm thinking I need to figure out better ways in the book itself to help.
If that ever happens, Jay Ryan, I am going to make sure that my Mav steps on Noah's little superhero.
Yeah, I said the next one.
Yeah, the next one. No, Noah's guy's got some powers too, though. So like, we'd have to sit down and argue about it, Giga Chad to Giga Chad.
But we have 8 stompy robots
we got more
that
than
are
8.
30 feet tall. I know,
We
but
have an
just
entire
in Volume
nation
1,
yeah, that's true,
there are 8
Yeah, there are 8.
stompy robots.
That's true. That's
Big
true.
stompy robots. And
Right.
then there are some smaller
I mean, he's like
robots.
17 though. We don't want to bully him too much, right?
Oh,
He's just a
whatever.
kid.
He
He's just
bullies
a
everyone
kid,
else.
You know, we'll have Chair settle it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Shelby's
That's
Chair
fair.
will settle it. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of inside baseball talk that makes no sense to you. Apologize for that.
It's all right. It's all right.
Gotta penetrate that market, says Broken Comics. Broken Compass Comics, Broken Comics.
Big says, I think Mavericks could handle Mavericks, but if he brings Corbishi, it's a whole new ballgame.
Yeah. Yep.
That's fair.
Yes. I'll just go get Art Jedi to help me out.
Now on Indiegogo.
That is my claim to fame.
8 is not enough, stompy robots. That's why I have a whole new team in the wings waiting to be introduced on Campaign 2, as well as 6 individual books. That's what we're working on, guys. I'm trying to get this shit together for you. Anyway, we've been going for a while. We've been going for almost an hour and a half now. What are you talking over me for? What?
I was saying I will ASMR some more whisper words for the chat.
Good, thank you. You want to do that?
That's very nice.
Not right now.
No? Okay. We'll do a pre-recorded video of you like just saying random things in the room. But we've been going for like almost an hour and a half. It's been a long time since we've done that. It's been a hot minute since we went for like an hour and a half on the show.
Yeah, we usually kind of...
but we should probably cut it short at this point and wrap it up so that we can interface a little bit more in the back room, and I can give you some information. We can set up a little bit more networking to get you more stuff that you're gonna need to go crowdfund on Indiegogo. But is there anything else you want to tell everybody before we get out of here?
There's not a lot I want to say right now. I'm really happy that so many people tuned in to see this. And I really hope all your projects are going as well as mine's is. Well, I'm gonna start working on it more. I hope to get this book out to all of you soon. I really don't like to keep readers waiting.
This says it's going to be a jawsome book, and Eric Grant has signed up.
That phrase. Oh,
I know that's Street Sharks, right? That's Street Sharks.
Yeah, I can't use that phrase. It's copyright. I would have been used it if it wasn't.
Of course, man. We're very glad to have like new creators with cool looking, fun looking projects on this channel anytime, and always willing to help out folks who want to bring their stuff to the market and get it out there and are passionate about their books. That's why we do this. So that's going to be it for us tonight, guys. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to the chat for sticking with us and hanging out while we talk about this awesome book. Thank you so much, Robert, for coming on talking about Bite and Tom and Artie and Kaiju Days and all the stuff that you've got planned. We're all looking forward to it and to the upcoming crowdfunding campaign for Bite specifically. If you guys enjoyed the content, please think about leaving a thumbs up. It helps Frequency Girl with the algorithm. And if you want, it would be cool if you subscribed so that we can bring more content like this to you in the future. And if you want to know when we go live next, you can always click the bell for notifications.
And tune into the frequency.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.